And another thing that comes up in relation to social media is there's this immediacy, you know, in scrolling, in looking, in you know, like it's like that kind of that wiring to just like have this immediacy of seeing things and feedback. And it's like for most people, what I would say is probably pretty true is they're not really taking the time to actually tune into what feels true to me in my body, because it's also very easy, regardless of what your stance is on anything in the world, it's very easy to just subject yourself to like confirmation bias. It's like, oh, well, this actually agrees with what my belief is, so like fuck yeah to that. And I think what would be really helpful, even in your own personal process, to not get so triggered by things, is to just have curiosity. You know, like it's to just something that I posted a story on my page today that was this woman speaking out the House of Representatives in Michigan. And one of the things I said is like, I'm not anti anything. I'm pro sovereignty. I'm pro sovereignty, and I'm pro personal choice. And that's for myself. Same. That's for anyone I could possibly disagree with. What you choose to do with your body, I fucking honor you. Yeah. I'm not going to pretend like I know what it's like to walk in your shoes with what you see with your family and your family background and ancestry and your you know, immediate surroundings. Like, I have no idea, but I believe that we deserve the sovereign choice to do what we want, you know? So, and at the same time, I just stay curious. You know, I could be totally fucking wrong about something, and having the detachment enough from your identity to be curious and to take ownership and be like, you know what, I was really wrong about that. I thought maybe because I saw this one thing that it could be this way. I was actually really wrong, and I can own that. And it's actually interesting because I think people think that's a scary thing to be wrong. It's not fucking scary.
It's actually the best leaders can admit it. And that's how you trust them. If they get new information and they realize, oh, I didn't know this. Now I know this, and I think a bit differently. Yeah. That's how you build trust with somebody.
Exactly. Because there's authenticity, which if you're ever going to be in integrity with yourself, that is like a number one pillar, is like totally being in your authenticity, which doesn't mean you're this fixed idea of something. Like, I'm moving and changing and flowing on a daily basis. You know, if my beliefs are just so fixed to only be this one thing, there's no space for me to grow with that level of rigidity. So, you know, I just stay open-minded. And if you're in the habit of just that level of authenticity, it's easy to admit when you're wrong. So then you don't get in battles with people on social media about what you disagree with and why they're full of shit and they shouldn't be, and they're morally wrong for their beliefs. And it's just like, do you want to live a life that is actually do you want to live a life that is thriving, or do you want to live in a life where you're giving all of your energy to things that aren't worth it? And that's not to say like, I actually do believe, though, like that energy that I felt yesterday when I was frustrated, there's also a very sacred beauty to that energy, because that energy on some level is a sacred rage. It's a sacred rage against things that are injustice, and it's an energy that is demanding change, you know? So whether that, and that energy wants something to be channeled into, you know? So for me, like I work with this women's group, and we're putting together this offering, you know, that's going to be like a little virtual retreat, and we're going to sell tickets that all go to this particular organization. And that is the way that I personally act on investing my energy into the change that I want to see in the world, you know? But that energy, like if it just stays stagnant, if you feel like you're at war with the world, if you're, you know, pro-vax, and then you feel like you're at war with anti-vaxxers, and you look for all the reasons to be at war with them. But like, what is it that you actually want? Do you want to be right, or do you want the world to be like really getting clear about like what's the actual core of what I want? I'm pretty sure for most people that are connected to their heart at all, they want the world to be a better place. Like people on the deepest level, like inherently desire unity and harmony.
Yeah.
And but we're so fixated on the position of wanting to be right. And it's like, it's so freaking exhausting. Like if you want to just be right all day long, like you're going to exhaust the hell out of yourself. Like my personal choice for me is I want to feel like even in a world climate that sometimes is brutal, you know, like I've been very emotional this last week, just because, as I mentioned earlier, you know, my husband is connected to a woman who works with this organization that is trying to save people out of Kabul, and being very closely connected, like actually hearing, you know, messages that have been sent about what they're going through, like being connected to it on that level it's heartbreaking. It's so unbelievably heartbreaking and heavy and dense. And also, I'm grateful to feel that level of heartbreak because we want to do anything that we can to help, You know what I mean? Like it's like this common thread of really connecting with your human brothers and sisters. Like when you see something like I'm sure, you know, most people have seen the videos of the babies getting passed, you know, along, you know, thousands of people to the soldiers to try to give them a chance at a different life. Like, and to think of what that would be like as a parent to experience that. Like there's a reason why people feel that. There's a reason why people feel that, because we're all connected to each other. So if we can just stop fucking fighting and trying to be right and using that really powerful sacred energy that we have to just like make a difference. And that might not necessarily mean outward action. Like maybe you're not an activist about this or that, or maybe you don't have the resources to donate to this or that, but like you can do the work on yourself to feel in a place of love and seeing through people's eyes every single day. That's a fucking immense contribution. That is a profound contribution to lend to the collective. And if you embody that, as you said, if you really truly embody that, people are inspired by you because they don't want to be in hell. People don't want, I mean, some people can be addicted to being in hell. And I'm sure in my past, I've probably been one of those people. But from like a real true place in your heart, like you want to love and you want to thrive and you want to fucking expand and experience and evolve and laugh and have sex and feel all of your senses and feel all the emotions. Like you want to live. And we're in this place in the world that everyone is so terrified of dying that we're not living. We're not savoring the life that we have. We're so wrapped up in this potential future where, you know, things get crazier and crazier that we're not grounded in this present moment and actually like taking a moment to look outside my window and appreciate like the abundance of not even, you know, money and resources, but the abundance of life. The abundance of the trees that are outside that are cycling oxygen so that I can breathe. It's like getting so wrapped up in the screen and the doing and the conflict and not giving yourself the spaciousness to just actually connect with life. You know, like it's really wild. And the more in fear we are of dying, the more we're going to go down those rabbit holes and get fixated on things that we don't know how to change. And then we're going to be angry and then we don't have any way to act on it. So people are just like ticking time bombs right now. And that's a lot of the reason why I think you see on social media, like people are nasty towards each other. They're angry because they're going through a massive initiation and they didn't ask for it. We all stepped into it as humankind and they don't know what to do with the energy. So all the repressed anger, all of the you know, all the ways that they've distracted themselves by, you know, drinking or partying or being really involved in sports, you know, whatever it might have been. It's like, now we're being forced to really like sit with our shit and feel and think, and people don't know what to do with it. So what do? They sit behind their screen and they go on Instagram and they go off on people and they attach themselves to their identity of this is the right way. And so much of what's wrapped up in that is, you know, I am pro this, and that's better than you. It makes me better than you. It makes me more virtuous than you. It makes me more moral than you. And you're fucked up because you don't believe the same thing. It allows them to put themselves in a hierarchy of life because they actually feel so out of control.